This is Tarron with Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the range cow horse. Today we're doing a review with Salty. We're going to go over some of the last preparation groundwork exercises where we go over leading up to our first ride. I've gotten, I think today will be maybe the third ride on this horse. We're pretty methodical in how we advance these colts as we go through the first sets of rides and then continue through our program. But I want to make sure that this horse is confident with me being around him. He's quiet, but he's responsive. I want to make sure that we can go and he stands still when we come around him, that he's comfortable about this saddle. He still thinks he's kind of concerned with me on this other side, so I'm going to make note of that, and I want him to stand still. I want him to keep his feet still. I don't want him being concerned about all that over there. But I want him to keep his feet still when I go through and flap these stirrups. I want to make sure that I can flex him on both sides. We definitely still need to do some warming up before we get on him, where he's still kind of pretty, I would say he's a pretty playful type colt, and so I want to make sure that he pays attention, that he's paying attention to me and not being concerned with anything that's going on around us. And so the way we do that is just continuing on with our groundwork. I want to make sure that he's listening to me on the ground, and so I want to be aware of what we're doing, what we're working on. I want to be aware of how much energy he has. More so, what I'm looking for is, how is he paying attention to me? Is he paying attention to me? Is he kind of flighty? Or, so those are signs of him using that reactive side of his brain, to where he's playful, maybe fresh, you could say. And so I want to make sure that we do plenty of groundwork in order to get him thinking about me, not being concerned about the noise or the camera or the people. And that's just going to take us getting his feet moving to where he starts getting maybe a little tired, just enough to where he starts thinking about what we're wanting him to do. He's acting kind of silly today. We just keep on with what he knows. He's knows what we're wanting of him. He's just acting pretty silly. But I'm looking for this colt to be paying attention, quiet. He's not jumping around. Looking for him to get to that state of mind before I go to get on him. Even though we've rode him a handful of times now, I still need to make sure that he's in that frame of mind before we get on him, because this colt has a lot of lot of movement to him. He's very quick, very quick-footed. All good things. You know, he's bred really well. He's very smart. And so, you know, I want to make sure he's in a good frame of mind for when I do get on him, so that, you know, we can have a good, successful ride for his sake and mine. You know, for number one, I want to stay safe, and then I want to keep him safe. But then also for the progression of these rides, you know, we need to build on every work and every ride to where this horse is more and more confident every time we come out here. And so just reading the situation and making sure that horse is in a good state of mind, good frame of mind, before we climb on. And I want to make sure that we start out soft in a good manner and we end in a good manner. You know, that they say that last thing that they think about, or they think about when you quit them, is whatever you worked on last, that last state of mind they were in. And so I want that to be a good place to quit them, so that they're thinking about that when you get on them, or when you come to work with them that next time. So he's starting to dial in a bit more. He's paying attention to me more. We're just getting, you know, these colts, we feed them really well. They get plenty of good feed, and so, you know, we certainly balance that out to where maybe we do need to do a little bit more groundwork with them on certain days, just to have them in that good frame of mind, burn off a little extra energy. But for their development, for the care of these colts, I want to have good feed in front of them where they grow and they get strong. You know, they have plenty of nutrients. They have what they need to be able to handle the consistent works. They continue to take that energy and get strong and get big and strong. So I'm gonna let him sit here a second, let him process, and I want to do some more desensitizing. You know, kind of how he wasn't so sure about keeping his feet still a second ago. And so I want to make sure all this stuff is good. I want him keeping his feet still when we go to get on him. I don't want him thinking about walking off until I'm in the saddle and he's relaxed and he's waiting on me to tell him what to do next. There's always a chance of these colts going and just spooking or doing something silly and something happening. But the more we can do this stuff to where they're used to sitting here, sitting quiet, realizing this is a restful place, you know, the more we can do all that stuff, the better. This side right here, he's kind of took a little extra work, just being conscious of making sure he's comfortable with me on it being on this side. And he's kind of the same way when you're on top of his back too, where he's maybe a little more cautious of looking at you out of his right eye. So just spending plenty of time over here making sure, you know, we do plenty of stuff to where it gives them an opportunity to get comfortable with, have him be comfortable with us being here. He flexes very well. He's very soft. As I said, with him, it's not so much that he's scared. He has a very playful attitude. His mind's running and he's paying attention to other things, or just that playful attitude. And so I want to make sure to keep his attention and just be conscious of that, to where, you know, I like that he's like that. He's plenty playful and personable, curious, and those are all good things. But at the same time, we do need him to pay attention to me. You know, that's what we're here doing. Where they listen, they're conscious of you, they respect you, your space, they respect you being on the ground with them. And then being a stud colt, we want to make sure that he's plenty respectful of us. Where we can back him up, make sure that he respects us. And it's also good, it gives them time to think about being out there. It gives them time to realize that just because they're at the end of this lead rope, I don't necessarily want them moving around or working. And so where they can relax right there. This is just having more control on these horses, to where, you know, if I'm getting off and I need to get a gate, well, I can send this horse, you know, I can send this horse through that gate. I can send this horse through that gate, yield his hindquarters, and I could get him out of the way of that gate, where he could just, and then him just be okay with planting his feet and being there. All these things are very good to get a horse in a good state of mind, to where we can work them. But then also it's very practical for when, you know, just like we did with them last week, you know, we use this groundwork to get him comfortable with loading in the trailer. You know, so you know, I've rode horses, you know, that exact thing, where I needed to open a gate and there was no, like, that horse would not send through that gate. And then, you know, that makes for a challenging time. You got a wire gate and you don't want that horse getting caught up in it, and you can't send that horse through there. I like, you know, he's starting to pay attention to me more. He's starting to relax. He's starting to wonder, or to figure out. He needs to be paying attention to me to see what I'm wanting to do next, or what I'm needing to do next. You know, it's a little windy today, and so, shoot, you know, from first time he was pretty good about this, but with it being a bit windier today, I want to make sure that, you know, he's good with this flag, he's good with this tarp, because if he's kind of shying away from this, you know, I don't want to be on top of him. Of course, we've worked this quite a few times already, but it's just touching on this stuff. Kind of takes the edge off. This is a very good-minded colt. He, I think the first time I put this tarp on him, he kind of half-heartedly kicked at it a little bit, and it was almost like he was just thinking, well, that's what I'm supposed to do, I think, as you know, kick at that tarp. That's what his instincts tell him, but he wasn't in it. He just, like I said, their senses are a little heightened today with the wind, all the wind that's going on, but I'd rather let him kind of get all that playfulness and reactiveness out while we're on the ground, so we set it up for a better ride here in a little bit. First time I put this on him, second day saddling him, first day putting this tarp on him, I just kind of let him loose, let him, at the end of our session, kind of let him carry it around, and he just walked around with this tarp sitting on him. He just walked around, licked his lips, checking stuff out, seeing what I was doing. He's a very good-minded colt. We got his feet done over the weekend. He did really good with that. Stood pretty well. He was a little unsure about it at first, but we use a very good farrier. He's very patient with these young horses. And I sat there and held him and held this horse. And like I said, farrier, he's very patient with these horses, and so we were able to have a good, successful first trim on this horse. Everything we do, we want it to be we're very conscious of trying to set it up to where it goes really well. You know, I want it to be able to go well and be able to set it up the best we can. You know, if we have an experience with a colt that, you know, that first time, whatever it is, maybe doesn't go so well, you know, we take note of it. What can we do better? So that every horse after that we put that horse through that situation, you know, it's a successful time. Say, first time washing a colt, first time getting their feet done, first time saddling them, you know, to where if you set it up to where there's not a fight or something goes on, there's not a blow up. Seems like these colts their confidence just keeps growing and growing. You know, I want to be able to rub all over him. You know, my foot's going to come swing back here, might rub against his butt here, and I'm getting on and off, so I want to make sure he's good there. He's kind of concerned about this a little bit, thinks he needs to move his feet, so I want to stay here till he quits. Thinks he needs to move his feet here from cinches. Stay here till he stops moving his feet. I like that he's relaxing. He's kind of tuning in to what we're doing. He's relaxing a little bit, getting more serious about the situation. Our next ride, I'll probably put the hackamore on him. You know, we have the dentist coming out next week, and so we'll be able to check this horse's teeth out, make sure everything looks good there, see if he has any wolf teeth, just see what the state of affairs looks like in his mouth. We like to do that before we put a snaffle in there in these colts' mouth, where it's just an added service. You know, a lot of these colts, these young colts, they've had their maybe had their teeth done before, so you don't have any big issues. But you know, we like to be able to set these horses up for the best success possible. Where we get these horses wormed pretty quick. We get their teeth done. Keep them on really good feed, good quality feed. Wash these colts. Get them used to getting their tails braided and getting brushed all over. You know, make sure that we can rub all over them. Make sure they're comfortable, of course, getting saddled and rode and all that good stuff. But there's a lot of ground manners, a lot of simple stuff, like even just loading in a trailer. You know, a lot of people just don't even think about that. Well, you don't think about it till you need it. You get in a situation where that horse won't load. So all that stuff is important. So all that stuff makes for a good experience for these horses. So I want to make sure that this horse sits here. You know, I'm not going to crawl on top of this horse until he sits still. And so I'm going to get on and off of him. I want to make sure that keeps his feet still. Move his feet. Went and thought he wanted to nip at me. Want to make sure that, like I said, he keeps his feet still. And it's his choice. I'm not going to force him to keep his feet still. It's a mentality thing. It's no, I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna keep my feet still because this is the best thing for me to do. You know, I know some people, they'll hobble them and they'll do all sorts of stuff to where there. I want this to be a comfortable place right here. For whatever reason, he was concerned about it. Thinks he needs to be concerned about it. We're just gonna sit right here. Let him relax. He's remind him about flexing here, not bracing up against me. You know, to me, it's you're creating a set of behaviors in a horse. You're reminding them, hey, when I pick up on this rein, you're supposed to flex and relax and get soft. You know, it's good showing some of this stuff. You know, where a horse reacts a certain way. Kind of showing, we've had that happen quite a few times in videos this week, where these horses go on and act a lot worse on camera than they have been all week. But it's good where this stuff isn't always going to be perfect. And it's good to see, well, here's how we handle it. You know, if something does go on, we don't just go and get mad and go beating on a horse or doing something. You stay with them and be patient and remind them of how you want them to act. See, this is how I want him to be when I go to get on him. I want him keeping his feet still, being respectful here. Some of that disrespectful behavior is kind of coming out in him a little bit. He's saying, well, I don't know that I want to do all that stuff. You know, I'm not afraid to, if, you know, we go to, as I said, this is, I think, going to be the third ride on him. And, you know, we've made some progress, and, you know, I'm not afraid to take a horse and go back and remind him of some stuff. It's like, well, I need you to stand right here, not be moving your feet. I need you to flex, get soft. I need you to be comfortable with me getting on and off of you. You know, these are all things that we've already done. But he needs some reminding. So he thinks he doesn't want to do that right now. It's like, well, we're going to sit right here. Tell you remember is the best thing to do. That's the answer. So like I said, I'm not, you know, if a horse is showing us some stuff, if he's showing us some stuff that showing us some reactiveness, or doing some things we don't want him to do, I'm not afraid to go back and remind him. So go back right here, make sure he's good with me climbing all over top of him. Remind him that I want him to keep his feet still. I think that we are kind of running out of daylight, but this horse needs some. He's just not in the frame of mind yet to ride him yet. It's a good thing about this groundwork. It gets him respectful. Gets him especially with a colt like this, where he's very playful. He's thinking about maybe he has a shorter attention span, and so we're being conscious of that, going in there, changing it up a little bit. So like right there, he was a bit reactive with me getting on and off of him, and so we worked to get that better. And then instead of staying hooked right there longer, I'm gonna go change I'm gonna go change what we're working on and get him thinking about something else. That way, we don't start a fight, or I want to make some improvement on that. So like getting on and off of him, we quit him right there to where he was good with me getting on and off of him, kept his feet still, starting to think again, and then we quit him right there, quit him in that good spot. Then we'll come back here and get to moving his feet. The wind's dying down, less traffic driving back and forth, and so we'll be able to get a nice little ride here on him here shortly. I know it'll help this colt quite a bit. We get to ride him in the big arena where we can just sit on him and get to putting some miles under his feet. It's going to help him quite a bit, where he can just get used to packing us. He can kind of get some of that extra energy out and be really good for him. You know, it's like the dun colt. I knew it would be copper. I knew it'd be. I spent quite a while on him today in that big pen. I just knew it would be really good for him. You know, he is to the stage to where it was time to take him out there. I knew it'd be really good for him just to go to moving his feet. And this one will be the same way. Be good. He'll probably jump around that arena a little bit. But be good just to get some miles under his feet. It'll help him quite a bit. I think it gives them, you know, when you can put a long ride on one, gives them something to think about, gives them something to work on. Gets their body moving. Part of it with this colt, he needs to get comfortable with me being on top of him and, you know, seeing me out of that other eye. Where we can just, you know, so like I was talking about with copper, you know, the first thing I want to do is be able to get this colt flexing. I want him to just stand here. You know, I want to build best I can. You know, I want to build this successful rides and steps. And so with him, you know, he's kind of concerned with me being up here. And so I want to go have him, you know, especially since we've already rode him. I mean, we've already put a few rides on him. And so I want to go here. I want him to get used to me being right here. I want him to stand still, keep his feet still. And I'm going to kind of work on getting on and off of him right here. Let him realize it's no big deal. He's kind of concerned about it for whatever reason. But he is. And so, you know, sometimes I'll take it, put it in these parts. So I want to be able to get on and off of him calmly. You know, with him being good with it, where he keeps his feet still. Where he'll flex side to side. And then when he's comfortable with this, then I'll ask him to move his feet. But if he's not comfortable with this, man, you know, you're asking for him to run around here all crazy, bounce off the walls. You know, this big reason I do all this stuff, I kind of break it into steps, because a lot of times I'm the only one out here with these colts, and so, you know, I don't want to rodeo or want it to be an issue. You know, I want to get a little bit of control on these horses and just build their confidence every time, every ride. He's relaxing down a lot right here. And so I might just get him to yield that hindquarters there a little bit, have him get soft. See right here, he's kind of concerned, where he's trying to take his head away from me a little bit. We just help him work through it. I like that he's got a lot of energy in his feet. Very athletic colt. Very nice colt. Get a couple steps. So right here, even in here, I'm working on this one rein stop. You know, I want to make sure that I can get him to move forward, and then I can take my feet off and get him to stop. Because like I said, a lot of times I'm the only one out here, and so, you know, I can't count on somebody being here to pull me out, getting into a wreck or something like that. So, you know, I want to build this control on these colts pretty early on. And it's all a bluff. And even the older horses, you know, if they knew it, they called your bluff. I mean, they could run off with you, whatever, buck you off anytime. So it's really all a bluff with these horses, but you know, it's creating that repeated behavior. So I ask you in this manner, you respond in this manner, and I reward you when you do that. And so it's just building that understanding. At this point, now that we're kind of worked on some of that, I want to be able to work on this walk. I want to, you know, I don't want to steer him around too much at this point. I want him to keep moving his feet based off of my feet being on him. My feet being wrapped around him. You know, I don't want him to think he can just quit moving his feet at this moment. So I'm building that little bit of that control on him. I want to be able to ask him to move forward, and I want him to stop moving his feet. And I want to build that in him. At a walk, a trot, a canter. And then we add the steering as we go. So right here, I'm not asking him to trot. I just want him to walk out. And so that's what we're working on. You know, I want him to, just like Copper was, he was walking around that arena just pretty relaxed. You know, I want this colt to do the same. Just be able to walk around here. I might let him trot around just a minute. I want him to get comfortable carrying me around. If he goes to throw me into or drag my feet on the fence here, I'm going to kind of take his nose back into that fence, make it uncomfortable for him. Make that uncomfortable for him. See right there, just reminding him of this one rein stop, and we're gonna go again. All of that's just a little bit of attitude. So we just keep building on it. All of it's just, he just needs to be relaxed, but also respectful that I'm asking him to move. So at this point, if he goes to trot off without me asking him, I'm going to pull him back down So I just need him to walk around here relaxed. Till he does that well, you know, I don't want to trot him around. See, he's relaxing some here. See this one rein stop? We built it on flexing on the ground and all this stuff to where he knows it's a safe place to be. Stop his feet and relax. And now I do kind of want him to trot out. I want him to get that kind of that tightness where we can just kind of trot around here. He doesn't have to get worried about it. Just be relaxed. Get some of that tightness out of him. I like that he's not too concerned about moving out. I do like that. What I mean by that is he gets off my leg well, where he will move and travel out. And so we just want to make sure that he'll travel out with me and be comfortable about it. There. We kind of let him, he grabbed himself a little bit. We kind of stuck with it, let him relax, and then pulled him down. And so all of this stuff, to me, it's just being conscious of what this horse is thinking. If I find a spot that where they're kind of reactive, then I want to get it good. I want to get it, make some progress on it, and then build from that spot, and then just kind of let him work some of that out. So at this point, I want to quit him when he's kind of traveling around here relaxed, and we can, I like that. He slowed down by himself right there. I'm going to quit him when we have built his confidence in this trot some more, where he can carry me around here, feel my weight, relax, not be too concerned. That was a lot better there. See, we traveled a full circle that time without him grabbing himself. And so, like I said, I want to quit him when he's kind of relaxed a little bit right here. Because the last thing I want to do is quit him after a bad spot. Where if I quit him where he grabbed himself a little bit earlier, if I quit him right there, he'd still have that worriness. Whatever got him worried, he'd still be thinking about that. And so I want him to kind of carry me around here. That's all right. Here in a minute, we'll cover every bit of this round pen. You'll figure out there's not any places here to be worried about toting me around. I'm going to quit him right here. So this spot right here, he's maybe a little more concerned about. It's not out there, not on the other side where the gate is. He's maybe a little concerned about being right here. And so this is where I'm going to quit him. Right here was kind of where he grabbed himself a few times. He was kind of concerned about it. So this is where we're going to quit him. Get off of him. And let him sit right here. I like this colt. He's very, very athletic, moves around very well. He's going to be a lot of fun to continue on with. Like I said, every day we're just working on gaining these horses' confidence. You know, I want to quit this horse. Like I said, I want to quit him right here, where he was kind of concerned about some stuff. Let him think about it. This is the place we got off. I loosened my cinch where he can relax right here. And, you know, overall, I think that was a pretty good ride. We even got him kind of over some of that worriedness he has, that tightness he had. And he didn't go to bucking or do anything silly. So, like I said, I'm pretty pleased with that. You know, going forward, you know, I want to be conscious of all those spots. You know, next time I get on him, next time I work him, I want to make sure that I'm conscious of all those spots that he was kind of silly about, or he was kind of concerned about. Make sure that those places are good before we move on. And then in the ride, I want to make sure just to kind of build on, have a mental note of where we left off, what he had problems with, and then, you know, make sure to continue building on all that stuff. So I'll probably ride him here in this round pen again. Make sure he's pretty relaxed here. Another time, take him to our bigger pen, and then take him out to the arena here in the next few rides. So that'll be our review of Salty for this week. We'll catch you on the next one.